Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be going through the season challenges for the new Battle Pass season, Armored Elephant, and going through how I'm going to approach them and generally just have a look at them just to make sure that people know what's going on. Now, also at the same time today, we are going to be doing a fireside chat. Now, if you don't know what a fireside chat is, it is an opportunity for you guys to come onto the stream and basically put forward your ideas or questions when it comes to War Thunder or when it comes to Enlisted. It's all done through the Tech Hub Discord, and if you want more information, it will be there. So make sure to join and then come along if you want to get on the stream and have a chat about stuff, whether it's what's been happening in War Thunder or what you'd like to see or any general questions. Everything is alright. Anyway, let's get into the season challenges. So the first challenge is like an elephant in a china shop, and it's available now, and also it has a different description in-game compared to what it has on the wiki, which is why I've started waiting for the challenges to be available in the game, because the wiki seems to lie sometimes. So basically what you have to do is you need to get kills and or assists, and get 250 of them in total. So if you get 250 assists, that counts. If you get 250 kills, that counts. If you get a mixture, then of course that counts as well. So you need to be rank 3 and above to do this one. So if you're doing your dailies and your specials going along with the Battle Pass, you'll get this one done anyway. You have basically 2 to 3 weeks to be able to do this. 250 kills with assists should not be too hard to do, right? It should be pretty simple, so I wouldn't worry about this one. The next one is similar and starts on the 4th of May. It is Crushing Step, and you need to win 30 missions while also destroying 1 vehicle. So if you just, once again, just do your dailies, do your specials, you'll be able to do this in very simple times. Once again, it's rank 3 and above, so just play rank 3 and above in Nations and get this done pretty quickly. This one should be easy. And then the next one is kind of interesting. It follows what we've been seeing in the Memorial Day events. So this is Elemental Conqueror. And what you have to do is receive 10,000 mission points in each of the following game modes: air battles, ground battles, and naval. So this includes arcade and realistic in both or all sets of game modes. And basically you just have to get 10,000 score in them overall cumulatively in each one. So that means 10,000 score overall in ground battles. This doesn't have to be in one ground battle, that would be impossible, but it's cumulative over time. So overall you need 30,000 mission points, with 10,000 being in each of the types of game modes. So you'll get this just by generally playing. Also, once again, rank 3 and above, so keep that into account. You will only need 1 vehicle, rank 3 though. Everything else can be lower. That's usually how these work, so it shouldn't be too bad. You've just got to remember to play all the different game modes. If at this point you're a person who only plays maybe air or only plays air and ground, it might be worth at least trying to research 1 rank 3 naval vehicle to be able to get this challenge done. The next one is called Fury of the Beast, and you have to destroy 3 player vehicles without losing your own while using a heavy tank 10 times. So you basically have to get 3 kills without dying in a match with a heavy tank. Now there's a bunch of heavy tanks that are very good for stuff like this, the KV-1ZIS-5 for example, the T-34 for the American tech tree, the Tiger 2P, or just the Tiger E or the Tiger H one, the Tiger 2H could work as well. The IS-3 is in a fantastic position right now, the IS-3 being at 7.0 at the moment, and also if you have the premium IS-6, that can work extremely well as well. One of my favorites, the Conqueror, you could use for this as well if you wanted to, but generally I think just staying around those mid-tiers, 5.7 to 6.7, playing the heavies around there, giving yourself the main opportunities to do this shouldn't be too bad. Unfortunately, certain nations don't have a ton of heavy tanks, which is a bit of an issue, so you're going to have to focus on playing the big 3, because they're the ones which have the majority of heavy tanks. Then we have Importunate Horsefly. Now, I thought that was a typo, but importunate actually is a word, so I learned something new today. Basically means persistent, especially to the point of annoyance or intrusion. So there you go. Anyway, this challenge is probably going to be the hardest for a lot of players, and what you have to do is destroy 5 player vehicles of each military branch while using a fighter once again, rank 3 and above. So you have to kill 5 enemy vehicles in ground, naval, and also air with a fighter. Now, killing stuff in air should be fine to be able to do this with, because all you have to do is, just play the standard fighter role. But in order to kill the ground stuff and the naval stuff, you may have to rely on your CAS elements. And so therefore nations like America are very strong for this. Stuff like the P-47s have access to a lot of bombs. The P-51s also have access to quite a lot of bombs. The F-6, F-5 Hellcat is fantastic when it comes to naval. It has a beautiful torpedo, especially in arcade, and also gets 2 1,000-pound bombs. You can even bring the Tiny Tims if you want a little bit of help with that. So the American fighters are fantastic at rank 3 for this. When it comes to the German and the Soviet ones, you have to rely more on guns, which is not easy to do. In naval, it can work against PT boats, but generally bombs and also torpedoes are much more useful. When it comes to the British, the Typhoon Mark 1B late is definitely calling. 2 1,000-pound bombs, pretty much a guaranteed kill with those. The Tempest Mark 5 also can work very well. There's a massive amount of planes for the Japanese that have access to bombs, just not big ones, but you can still, do pretty well with them. And then, of course, when it comes to the Chinese, they have access to the P-47. So every nation has a fighter which has bombs attached to it, and a lot of fighters have actually got bombs over the last few years, so this shouldn't be too hard to do. But once again, you do have to be able to get into them in game modes and be able to, bomb people, or rocket people, or whatever you choose. So it's going to be a little bit tough to do, but at least it's only 5 across the board. And then we have Thick-Skinned. Now this is just get Adamant 25 times. Now Adamant is an award where basically you get shot and survive a lot. So you're able to take a lot of damage when it comes to War Thunder and survive and be able to go out from there. But generally, when it comes to the award, what you want to use is you want to be able to use heavy tanks. Basically, what Adamant is take some hits and stay alive, and awarded for receiving non-critical damage. So, ricocheting shots, for example, in stuff such as tanks is basically the main way of getting the Adamant award. So play heavies and play stuff like the T-34, play stuff like the KV-1. You'll get it very, very quickly. In other vehicles, you can even get it by getting artillery and it not doing any damage. You can do it that way, or if somebody machine guns you with a plane, you can get it. So generally, it's not too hard to get. It'll just kind of happen over time. So generally, if you're doing your dailies and specials, you'll already get this one. But if you're struggling with it, make sure to bring out your heavy tanks and angle efficiently. The next one is Size Matters, and you need to get 20,000 damage to other vessels while using a coastal vessel gun of at least 75mm caliber. Now this one might be a little bit hard because unfortunately when it comes to coastal vessels, there aren't a ton which have over 75mm in caliber and also are rank 3 and above. So you're really sat on a few specific vehicles. For example, for America, you have the Asheville. The Asheville has access to the 76.2mm gun, and then you have the Hoquiam, which is at the top of the tree, and that's pretty much it. The other options, you have, of course, the one which I think most people are going to use. You have the SF-40 Heavy for Germany. That has 4 88mm. Also the AFD-1 and the AFD-3. Both of those can be used to great effect. But there isn't a ton of stuff. A lot of the high-tier stuff have the Otto Melara, the 76mm, so you can use them, which is quite good. But they are super high tier, and I'm not sure how many people will have those ground out. Obviously, the SKR-7, the squadron vehicle, would be a really good pick for this. Same with the SKR-1, the PR-35 and the PR-159. Both of those could be used to great effect. And unfortunately, you can't use the Flower class or the Isle class. Both of those are rank 2s, which is, the issue. But you can use the Type K8 number 13 and also some other machines which are around there. Even though they're terrible vehicles, at least they're quite easy to get to. And, you know, you have the higher tier ones as well that you can get access to. So there's not a ton of vehicles you can use here. You know, the only one, or the only two, I think you can actually use for Italy are the Gabbiano and also the Albatross. So yeah, it's really limited on the vehicles you can use. So if you haven't ground out naval a lot and, you know, you want to get that challenge done, the best one to go for is probably the SF-40 Heavy for the naval side of things, because that, for the Germans, because that has 4 88s on it. The next one is Professor Porsche's Elephant, which is quite a funny name, and you just have to destroy 50-player vehicles using German tank destroyers from rank 3 and above. So this one shouldn't be too bad. There's actually a ton of German tank destroyers. You know, you don't have to go all the way up to the Ferdinand at 6-7 to be able to, you know, get a lineup of them. The one lineup that I actually like is 4-3, because you can run the Jagdpanzer 4, the Hetzer, and also the 88mm. Both and all three of them work really, really well. And also, as you go up, you have even more options. You know, the Sturmil, the Nashorn, the Panzer 470, and then you get into some of the bigger ones, the Jagdpanther, the Ferdinand, the Jagdtiger, the JPZ-45. There is a ton of options for Germany when it comes to their tank destroyers, all the way up to even 9-7 with the Weasel 1A2. So luckily, this is for Germany, so it wouldn't be, you know, too bad. The lineup that I'm probably going to be using is the 4-3 one, the Sturmil for a bit of fun, the Jagdpanzer, Hetzer, and also the Jagdpanzer 4. That will probably work the best. If I was going to be trying to be as efficient as possible, the Ferdinand, the Elephant, and the Jagdtiger would be the one to go for. And if you don't have the Elephant at that time, just put in the Jagdpanther or the Jagdpanzer 4-5 and just have a bit of fun with it. The next one is Trembling of the Earth, and you just have to drop a total of 20,000 kilos of bombs on enemy bases, and so 20 tons basically. So isn't that bad. Generally in events, you know, you get stuff like this, so that one won't be too shabby. Just got to make sure you rank 3 and above. Aerialistic is probably the way to go. You know, spawn, turn 45 to 90 degrees, 5-degree climb, 5 minutes, and then go to the bases and drop bombs. That generally is a way to make sure that you survive in your bomber and have a pretty decent time. Also, at the same time as this, you can use this to spade out bombers that, you know, you haven't played before, or you can use it to maybe get some camouflages. They changed a bunch of camouflages back for certain bombers, so they require TNT destruction instead of the other one, which is, you know, ground targets destroyed. So, you know, maybe grind out some camos. That's probably what I'm going to do, because I've researched all the bombers in the game, and I think I've spaded them all as well. So it's either that or the Thunder Chief. We'll see what happens. The next one is Fierce Giant, and you need to get the Battle Award Professional 25 times. Now, this is easier to get in Air Arcade, Ground Realistic, and Naval Arcade as well. And basically what the professional award is reward for destroying 5 vehicles in a single match. Each kill after the 5th rewards the player with another professional award, i.e. if you get 7 kills, this would reward the player with 3 professional awards. So basically just 5 or more kills, and that's how you'll get this. So play the lineups that you're most comfortable with and kind of grind them out as you go. Generally, I found mid-tiers like 4-3, 4-7 is normally the best for these type of awards, but if you're playing and doing your dailies and stuff like that, especially in ground, you'll be able to get this no issue. You know, once again, it's 3 weeks to be able to get 25 awards, so if you're doing general grinding, this stuff won't take you too long, and you'll probably get it without noticing. And if not, as I said, just play your meta lineups that you know and that you love, and get it done quickly. Also, it doesn't matter how many times you spawn in as well, so this is cumulative in the single battle that you play, so don't worry about respawns. And then you have winner selection, where basically you have to receive 20,000 mission points in battles where vehicles from the current Battle Pass season were used. So basically you just have to spawn in them once in the battle. You don't have to specifically use those vehicles to get the 20,000. What you can do is you can run a lineup of, let's say, the Elephant, the Tiger 2H, and let's say the Panther 2 if you have it, and as long as you spawn in the Elephant at some point, all those mission points or the score that you get in that battle will go towards this 20,000. So that's what I would say. I would say play the Elephant. If you haven't got the Elephant and you're going for the free vehicle, the F6C, you can use that in French ground lineups, and you can also use it in aerialistic or air arcade lineups, and all of those scores will count towards this. So that's what I would do, and obviously the Cadres, the same thing with that as well when it comes to it. So this one isn't too bad. You just got to remember to spawn in on it, even if it's at the end of a battle. Now this one I think might be one of the toughest challenges for people, and this is the 1,000 Names of Ganesha. And what you have to do is you have to play 5 missions each in vehicles of 8 nations. So 8 nations is quite a lot. We only have 10 in the game. So you've got to get 80% of them. So overall, that's 5 times 8. That's 40 missions. So, you know, not too many overall, but you have to do them at rank 3 and above. So you have to have 8 nations, which are rank 3 and above in some way. And you also need a battle activity of 70%. So definitely a high battle activity and also a decent amount of missions, and also across different nations. But also remember that this is the season-long challenge. So once you unlock it at Battle Pass level 21, then you then you get it, and it's super simple to do. But remember, if you don't have a bunch of these nations grinded out, this is your opportunity to go ahead and research at least into rank 3 of these nations, so you can get this challenge done. And generally, I would say the variety that you get from playing the different nations is very positive. It's something that you should focus on when it comes to War Thunder, and should be a priority instead of just blasting down one of the nations and that's it. So hopefully people enjoy this one, but I feel like a lot of people are going to be annoyed at this challenge because of the amount of grinding they may have to do. The next one is Elephant Seal, and you have to destroy 15 player vehicles with a torpedo using a blue water ship. And this, once again, rank 3 and above. If you want my pick, I would go for the Shimakaze. This one is a Japanese squadron vehicle. It has a ton of torpedoes on it, and you can also run it with a bunch of other vehicles as well, including the Yugamo and also the Akizuki, but also the Yudachi, if you have that from before. The Shimakaze has 15 torpedo tubes, which basically means that you can just lump out a ton of torpedoes over time. And if you're in arcade, the torpedoes get a reload. So all you have to do is sit on the edge of the map and not just throw tons of torpedoes out there. At the same time, these torpedoes are very good. They are the long lance ones, so they have a travel distance of 15 kilometers, and also they go at, or at least they start at 91 kilometers an hour when it comes to the game. And they do get slower over time, but if you cover enough of the setup, then you can, just annihilate people as you go. So definitely worth playing that, definitely worth doing that with the Shimakaze. And if you struggle with that, then I'm sure that there are some other options. But yeah, just Naval Arcade, Shimakaze, torpedo the whole enemy spawn, wait for kills. That's pretty much how I always do the torpedo challenges, and they work very well. And then the other seasonal challenge is Hunter Hunting, and what you have to do is destroy player heavy tanks and tank destroyers, 10 units of each, while using a light tank. And so you just have to use a light tank to beat these things up. There's a lot of very good light tanks in the game, around 6-7 basically. For America, you have the M50, the T-92 and the Scorpion, the M56. Obviously, the Scorpion is seen as a tank destroyer, so that won't work as well. But the T-92 and the M50 work well. Actually, no, the M50 is seen as a tank destroyer as well. Never mind. So basically, the T-92 and the Bulldog. So it might not actually be that effective to use that stuff. You do have other things, though. The RU-251, for example. The Hellcat is a really good pick. The M18, since they changed that to a light vehicle, because you can kill Tigers, basically, and also other tank destroyers that you see. But generally, the lower you go, you're going to see more tank destroyers and more heavy tanks, because at higher tiers, they don't really exist as much. So if you can get, lower vehicles of rank 3 or rank 4, which are light tanks, then you'll be able to do it pretty well. Like the the Japanese Chaffee might not be a bad pick to be able to get this done, but you might not see too many heavy tanks, but you'll see a decent amount of tank destroyers. Stuff like the PT-76 won't be too bad. The Type 62 for China as well is right in the heavy tank territory, so that might be a way to go. But generally, since this is a seasonal challenge, you unlock it at level 60. It might be worth trying to get to level 60 before that Professor Porsche's Elephant challenge starts. So a bunch of people will be roaming around in tank destroyers, so you can kill them with the light tanks. And then the last one is just Age of the Titans, and you get this for completing all of the previous ones. So it's kind of an extra little bonus of 4.5 levels for the Battle Pass, which is quite nice if you complete all the other challenges. So as usual, all these challenges, most of them are pretty simple. There's only 1 or 2, which I think are going to be a few issues for some people, but with the right research of the right vehicles, it shouldn't be too bad. Overall, I think this season of challenges is pretty easy. Nothing really is as crazy as what we've seen before in other ones, but hopefully people enjoy this set and can get this Battle Pass done without too much of an issue. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Merciless Reaper, Jerry Provolt, Mega Dino King, Professor X1718, Orange Tail, Sakoshi Tiger, Teddy, John Ryman, Universe, Eugens Terry, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, Moxie, B. Young, and Derek R., Barine, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.